Do you live on purpose? Every move matters. Kill everything that doesn't contribute to the final product or the goal that you're working towards.
I've been chosen. Watch me put it in motion. Got strong emotions. Manifest what I've spoken.
If you're an athlete and you are struggling to find your purpose beyond your sport, or if you want to integrate God into your life and discover purpose, if you're lost and need encouragement, then this podcast is for you. Welcome back again to Beyond the Painted Lines. I'm your host, Datu, and as usual, go cop a pair of Kai 1s. Shout out Anta. All right, let me put these back. In today's episode number 21, I want to talk about living on purpose. And I want to zero in on our focus. Everything that we do, every big action that we take towards our goal or towards our job, our career, our family, things that we want out of life, okay? And today I want to talk about two terms. And these two terms I get from, they mean the same thing, but I get them from the mentors that I talk to. I get them from self-help books that I read, podcasts, a lot of different avenues, but I want to talk about your lighthouse or your North Star, and they mean the same thing. Today, we're going to dive into what it means to follow your lighthouse or follow your North Star. You may or may not know your purpose, but for those of you that do or still trying to figure it out, this is that deep, unwavering purpose or goal that you have in your life, and your lighthouse or your North Star is what's guiding every single move that you make. So let's quickly kind of define what your lighthouse is, right? Or your North Star. I guess you could define it as also your purpose, but when I think of this term, I think of it's not just a goal that I have. It's also like my calling, what I feel destined to do, either temporarily or long term. This lighthouse or North Star, right? When I think of North Star, I also think of the star that the wise men and shepherds followed to Jesus when he was born. Because when I think of it, it is also your long-term direction. This should be aligned with your values, your mission, your integrity, the things you want to accomplish, right? So let me give you an analogy why it's called this. I've actually never sailed before. Okay, I've been on a ferry. But I ain't never been on a actual sailing boat before. This is the idea that to a certain extent, sailors are navigated by stars or by the lighthouse. The reason for that is so they can see where the shore is. They know where to go. The lighthouse doesn't move. Your lighthouse never moves. But everything else around you will move. You steer the direction of the boat. We got to factor in the wind. We got to factor in the water. I'm not a physicist, but like wind resistance, buoyancy, right? But that's just the analogy here is that your lighthouse is the like pinnacle, the peak that you're shooting for. And that doesn't move. Your purpose, your goal, whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish is there. And it's up to you how you can maneuver to get to that point. So before I move on any further, I want you to ask yourself, right? What is one thing that you feel like deep down, or maybe you know, maybe you don't know, what you're called to build, what you're called to become? Let's throw a Bible verse in there. Today I wrote down Psalm 119, 105. The NIV version says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." Interesting I choose this because we're talking about lighthouses, right? But the message here is that God's word is like the lighthouse. It doesn't show the whole journey, but it gives light to the next step. Like I know the direction I want to go into, or God's already planned the direction I'm supposed to go to, right? And there's all these obstacles and there's all these tasks and actions that I need to take to eventually get there. But God is giving me direction. The good thing is that when you do go off course, when you do feel misaligned, you still know where you're supposed to go, or what you want to be, what you want to become, what you're trying to create. Let me share that I would say the biggest time I felt lost or misaligned, I can name a couple examples here. I think the first one, I graduated from college. Didn't know what was next for me. So I stayed in school another 2 years to get my master's degree. I'm sort of just buying time, right? And this big quarter life crisis hits me. I don't know what else to call it. And suddenly I'm just in the real world, I'm just constantly questioning, like, what do I do with my life? I have these big plans, and like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to be someone who didn't accomplish anything great. I can even narrow it down to, like, how am I going to make a living? How do I live a life that I don't hate? And another example I would say is that I wouldn't call it a misalignment, more so discovering purpose. But after I graduated from school entirely, I moved to LA and worked as a personal trainer. And even though I loved my job, loved the identity that I was creating for myself, with the power of prayer, I really felt that God had more for me. And so, long story short, I've discussed this on other episodes already, but it led me here to the Philippines. And I bring that up again because I'll go back to the Bible verse I read earlier. Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. Working as a trainer in LA wasn't my lighthouse, but it was in the right direction of where God eventually wanted me to go. God is still shedding a little more light. Every step that I take, God is shedding a little more light on which path to go down. There's this quote in my head, and I can't remember where I got it from. The quote is, every step you take is either moving you closer or further away from your purpose. Right? And it's like, more analogies, your life is like this GPS route. Every tiny decision, every possible street you could go down, you'll either end up at your destination. You might take longer getting to your destination, or you could be going the wrong way. Every tiny decision that you make now, right? So what you consume, what you watch, how you spend your time, your mornings, your evenings, the people you hang out with, friends or family, your boundaries, when to say yes, when to say no. I'm sure we can name more examples, but they either align with where you want to be or they distract you from where you want to be, right? And it's so hard sometimes to say no to things, even good things. It's hard to say no to good things for the sake of the right things that you really just need to accomplish in your life. Not to counter myself here, but sometimes it's good to be a yes man, and sometimes it's good to have your boundaries up and say, no, I gotta lock in. It's really up to you to distinguish what looks like an opportunity and what could be a distraction. There's a cost to being unfocused, right? You waste time. There's burnout, regret, misalignment, missed opportunities, reasons to complain. There's just a huge price to pay for not locking in on what you want to do, right? Life is a race. We are on a time limit. We don't have unlimited time to accomplish whatever we want. So let's talk sports, right? Let me give you a sports example. Let's say you want to be an Olympic gold medalist one day. Your lighthouse, your North Star, is to have a gold medal in the Olympics. Are your habits, are your actions preparing you for that? You have to ask yourself, with all the small and big things in your life, like, does this move me toward where I want to be, who I want to become? A lot of the time, God often gives you vision before he gives you clarity. And so what I mean by that is, if I'm having these visions of me standing on a podium holding a gold medal, God's giving me that vision, but he doesn't give me clarity all the time. How am I going to get there? What do I need to do to get there? right? It's on me to not only figure it out, but take the actions necessary to do so. Olympic gold medal is a huge goal. But if you're ambitious, I applaud that. Stay faithful in your big decisions and the small ones, because everything that you do builds alignment in time. Because faith isn't just trusting God with your destination. It's trusting him in the day-to-day direction, your day-to-day actions. So that's why in my life, that's why every single day, in the evening before I go to bed, I write down a power list of tasks that I need to complete the next day. Even if they're small, if I can complete that task list and win the day, then I know that I'm still taking small actions required every single day that align with my purpose. And one day of doing all your tasks doesn't really feel like it pays off, especially when the tasks are like small or tedious or like, oh my gosh, I have to get this done today. They will pay off over time. It compounds. That's the word I'm looking for. All your tasks compound over time. If you're misaligned, the actions that you take are going to be like you're training for the wrong sport. Like you're working hard, but it's not where you're called to play. I really just want to encourage you guys to just take a moment, spend some private time by yourself and just really think about what your end goals are. It can be in different subjects, right? It could be with your career. It could be with your family. It could be with God, your spiritual self. I encourage you to take some time and write down what your lighthouse looks like in different categories in your life. Right. And then after you do that, think about the actions that you take on a daily basis. What habits do you form, and are they aligned with the lighthouse? The hard part about that is sometimes you realize that you have to eliminate certain things that are distracting you or wasting your time. It's like I have to reconstruct all my commitments, but that's okay. Now you've realized where you want to be, where you need to go. You know, big changes happen in small habits. Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I definitely recommend everybody reads that book. But just commit to one decision at a time that honors the direction you're looking to go. Because it's not like the most successful or the most fulfilled people are just the busiest. They're just most aligned and purposeful with every action they take. But remember that you don't need to have it all figured out. I don't exactly know how I'm supposed to get this podcast from A to Z, but it's not about me knowing that right away. But I know how to get it to A to B and then B to C, right? And that eventually will lead me all the way to Z. I'm going to leave you with another Bible verse. I think I've shared this one on another episode, but it's Matthew 6:33 NIV, and it reads, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." Prioritize what matters internally and eternally, spiritually. You put God above your lighthouse. You let God shed light into each step that you're supposed to take. You trust him along the way. I have no doubt in my mind that God will take care of you, and God will not give you something you can't handle. You know, I truly believe everything will fall into place if you just put God above everything and trust that he's leading you into the right direction. Pray on it, fast on it. Oh, one more thing that I wrote down is that alignment brings provision. I extremely appreciate you tuning in again to Beyond the Painted Lines. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone you think could definitely take use out of this episode. And remember, move with purpose. I'll see you next time.
I've been chosen. Watch me put it in motion. Got strong emotions.